What's going on, everybody? Carolina Combat back today. Special guest, Owen McMullen, Iowa commit. Owen, thanks for joining the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Why Iowa and just what made that the place for you?
Yeah, so, obviously the recruiting process starts June 15th going into your junior year in high school. And to be honest, I didn't really know what to expect. And, kind of right out of the gate, all the calls blew up. I had 30 calls after day one. And, grown up in the Young Guns wrestling club, Coach Jody Stripmatter, he went to Iowa. And, that was kind of always the dream, growing up because he was my coach and, watching videos of him wrestle at Iowa. And, started taking visits, and Iowa was my fifth visit. And, kind of going into that visit, I was like, hey, if the offer and stuff like that is right and it feels right, I think we should do it. And, they brought me into Tom and Terry brought me into the office and we got it done and I committed on the spot. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, a few years back, you got to take a picture with them with a national championship trophy. So it's got guess, kind of coming full circle now.
Yeah, it was really cool. I think I was in seventh grade and we swung by there and that was super cool. So I kept that in mind going in the recruiting process. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, what is it like, having elite partners like Melvin, Bo, Jack Sports, all those guys on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, it's really like a college room. Jax, he just made the senior level world team. Bo, Melvin won Fargo. We have so many other guys in the room that, you know, I wouldn't say get overshadowed, but it's kind of hard having all those elite guys in the room. But yeah, we make each other so much better, and I truly don't believe there's another room, another high school room in the country that's as good as ours. But yeah, it's awesome. We make each other better. We're all really good friends. We're like brothers. We're like best friends. So it's fun. Making each other better and see each other. Reach our goals.
Yeah, you just kind of spoke on it, being Matt's side for Jack's making the world team. What was that kind of like, just being able to experience that?
Yeah, it was surreal because we wrestled session one of Fargo and like we kind of wrapped up and Jax was getting ready and they were wrestling while the cadets were wrestling. And yeah, I mean there was no way we weren't gonna be Matt's side for it. But yeah, Jax, he got it done the first match. It was a little scary. He had to come from behind, but I don't know, the way Vito kind of like his body language coming off the mat from mat one, we were like, whoa, like
Absolutely.
Jax is really gonna do this. So we were really confident going into the second match, and yeah, it was so cool, seeing one of our best friends, like that's obviously hasn't happened in a really long time, and after PJ did it, beating Yanni, we were kind of like, man, like this can actually really happen. And yeah, Jax got it done, and he came over, got his world team plaque, and gave us a big hug. And afterwards, on the other side of the dome, they were getting pictures, and like they were having us come in, and like just it was so cool. But yeah, that's something I'll never forget. Watching Jax, Matt's side, making the senior level world team, that was really cool. So.
Yeah, Bishop McCort, great program. How's that environment shaped you as a wrestler and a person?
Yeah, so I've been with the McCort system since I was like 7 years old. Obviously, we didn't start there, but we moved to McCort in seventh grade. But yeah, Coach Bassett, Bill Bassett, Bo's dad, he's been a huge influence in my life. We preach being a good person before being a good wrestler. And if you're a good person, eventually that's gonna make you a good wrestler. But yeah, without those guys, I definitely wouldn't be where I am today. And yeah, they made me who the person I am today, and they've made me the wrestler I am today. So without those guys, without the whole McCord system, I truly owe it all to those guys because without them, I wouldn't be anywhere near where I am right now.
Absolutely. You were sidelined your junior year. What was that recovery process like, and how excited are you to be able to actually compete again now?
Yeah, so obviously it was really tough. Not being able to even practice my whole junior year. But honestly, it was kind of a blessing in disguise the first half of the season because, guys were obviously like wrestling and they had to fit in visits and like all the
Right.
recruiting and stuff like that. So I was able to focus all my attention on recruiting and I got to take a lot of visits. So that was super nice. I could focus a lot in on that. But after I committed in end of October, I was like, dang, now I just got to watch my teammates. But I was there. I was there every tournament. It was really hard. Every tournament, just seeing like guys that, I've beaten before and they're doing really good. I was just like, dang. But, it definitely fueled the fire for this year. And I'm super excited to give it one last run with my best friends. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. Speaking on your last run, do you have any personal goals for your last season?
Yeah, so we obviously have a really tough schedule, and we're only adding to it this year. Um, but honestly, I want to go out and try and win everything. We're doing Ironman and Powerade again this year. I think we're going out to Doc Buchanan in California, so that'll be really cool to win. And honestly, if that's all great and everything, but I want us to go out on top and beat Faith Christian. Uh, it's probably going to be in the state finals, but we've been chasing them ever since we were able to compete, and they're returning three-time state champs. And this year, obviously, it was the national finals technically because it was number one and number two. But yeah, I want us as a team to go out on top. I think that would be really cool for all of us. And
Absolutely.
if I could choose to win one thing, it would be that state title as a team. So.
Is there any specific matchups or events you're really looking forward to?
Event wise, I would say Ironman is always the biggest one. It's always our goal going into the season is Ironman. It's always been a really cool tournament. And other than that, I would say just ending my career as a state champ would be really cool. And then matchups, obviously. Uh, as I said, the Faith Christian duel, but we go out to Oklahoma and we do the national duels. Has like Stillwater there and Edmond North and guys like that. And we actually won it last year, and that was super cool to be a part of that. So I think it would be cool if we could win that again, and then obviously hopefully beat Faith Christian this year in the state finals.
Yeah, for you, you won double gold at the U.S. Open a few years ago. Is that your favorite accomplishment to date? And how does that success fuel you, going forward from that?
Um, yeah, that was really cool. Just wrestling at the Open and being on the stage and having guys in the tunnel with you. Like I remember I was back in the tunnel and Nico Megaludis was right beside me. So that was really cool. But yeah, I would say the US Open was my favorite event that I've won. Obviously I've had some setbacks the past couple years. Obviously missing this year, but yeah, I just want to build on that into this year, and yeah, I want to get some more accomplishments under my belt before I go off to college.
Yeah, for you, obviously, you do a lot of training, but is there any like specific things you do to keep like mental training or anything like that to stay sharp before your matches?
Yeah, Coach Bassett, he's really big on mindset. He's always in our ear before matches, telling us positive stuff, getting us calm. You don't want to be too anxious out there. So I would say just talking with him before matches really gets me calmed down. And, I like to listen to music before my matches. So I would say, talking with my coaches and, not putting too much pressure on yourself before you go out there, just trying to have fun and score as many points as you can.
Yep. Speaking of Coach Bassett, what kind of impact has him and just the rest of the coaches you've had throughout your career had on you?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Bassett has been there since the beginning. Um, Even before McCort, we were going to his club, and yeah, I mean, he's like a father figure to me. He's a really great person. He goes all in all aspects of his life as a father, as a coach, and as a school teacher. So he's really taught me, what hard work looks like. I mean, he shows it on a daily basis. All the coaches are with us in the trenches, doing the workouts, putting us through the workouts. But yeah, there's so many other coaches that deserve a lot of credit. His brother uh, is one of our coaches. He's obviously been a really big influence. But um, yeah, without him, wouldn't be anyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know your program's built on faith. Just how big is your faith to you and just the way you go about your wrestling career and just your everyday life?
Yeah, I mean, it's everything. At the end of the day, if wrestling goes away, you got to have an identity outside of the sport, and that's where my identity is. And like you asked the question about, what do you say to yourself like before going out in a mat? I believe, it's already decided. The Lord's plan is perfect, and knowing that, just stepping out in the mat, I have no pressure because I know what He wants to happen is already going to happen. So I just step out on the mat and I have no pressure because I know what's about to happen is his perfect plan. So yeah,
Absolutely.
my faith is it's everything to me for sure.
I know you guys will have a busy schedule. Do you plan on hitting any college opens this upcoming year?
Yeah, we stopped doing that last year, obviously because like the visits, started piling up and everything. But yeah, we did that 2 years ago, and we're gonna do that again this year. Yeah, we're gonna do the Clarion Open. That's always a good one. You get guys from Ohio State there, Lehigh, programs like that, and I'm sure we'll be hitting a couple more. But I think that's the big Open we're gonna hit this year, and those are always really really fun because you have nothing to lose. You're in high school,
Absolutely.
and if you go out there, get a big win, it's amazing. But if you go out there and you take a loss, it's all right. You probably weren't
Right.
supposed to win. So,
Yeah, for any younger athletes that may look up to you in your career, what advice would you give them?
um, I would say just try and develop. When you're younger, uh, I wouldn't put too much stock in results. Just keep trying to develop, stay in love with the sport because, you're obviously going to hit some road bumps, but it's not the end of the world. Just keep having fun with the sport and keep sticking with it because, if you continue to develop, a lot of guys fall off in high school because of distractions and stuff like that. So just keep putting in the work, keep loving it, and eventually you'll break through.
Yeah, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Yeah, obviously I still want to be in the sport. Wrestling internationally, on the senior stage, with the Hawkeye Wrestling Club. Um, but yeah, I would say still be in the sport after college. Yeah, and wrestling senior level.
Yeah, as we wrap up for any of your supporters or fans that may be watching, do you have any kind of message?
Just thank you. Wouldn't be here without all of my support system, and yeah, I'm excited for this upcoming season. If anyone can come out and watch McCort wrestle, it's really cool. The dual environments we have, it's really cool. So if you can come out and catch any event, I'd highly recommend it.
Well, Owen, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no, thank you. This was great.